Hey everybody! Wednesday, October 17th. It is Wednesday, by the way, so I sent out the weekly EIA Petroleum Weekly Status Report analysis. If you'd like to get a copy of that, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader or Zombie Trading. Zombie Trading, of course, is my daily Forex signal service. It's based on knowing zombie behavior. I know how they're going to behave. It's not hard. And front-running their activities, front-running their behavior, taking their money and getting out before they die. Speaking of zombie behavior, we could look at what happened today in the markets where two things. Number one, early on today, you had a comment coming out of Italy that the Italian budget may be rejected. So, of course, that triggered selling in the euro. Now, we've seen these problems, and I discussed them in my last video over and over and over again. The euro, at its inception, was trading around 115 and change. It went all the way down to 80 cents to the dollar. Then it went all the way up to $1.60. Then from the great financial crash in 2008, 2009, and all the events and developments and circumstances that have emerged since then. The great financial crash, we had the Greek crisis, we had numerous political crises or elections that everyone deemed to be horrible and terrible for the future of the euro. We had numerous forecasts of various countries, whether that be Greece or Spain or Italy, leaving the euro over and over again. We had unprecedented quantitative easing by the ECB starting in 2014. We had Brexit in 2016, which was also supposed to lead to the demise of the euro. We had the French elections. We had everything you could possibly imagine. And guess what? The euro is at 115 and change, right where it started out. So they've literally thrown everything. Now, I'm not a proponent of the euro. Don't get me wrong. I said from the get-go it was a bad idea. You can't do a single currency without an overarching or an overriding fiscal authority. All right, you turn everybody into currency users, where these nations beforehand had been currency issuers. You put basically the ECB in charge of fiscal policy. They're unelected. I mean, so it's a terrible idea. Don't start putting up comments here thinking that, oh, I love the euro. I don't. But it doesn't mean it's going to go away. I mean, we've literally seen people kill themselves, commit suicide in public, in protest against the euro, and governments have just stood by and watched and continued on with policies dictated from Brussels and the banks and the monetary authorities saying, you got to keep doing what you're doing, which is austerity, which is the ECB's policy of asset purchases and negative interest rates, which is running trade surpluses, at least for Germany, the major economy. So all of these things are fundamentally bullish for the euro. And if that wasn't true, after everything that has happened, they've thrown everything at it you could possibly throw at it, plus the kitchen sink, the euro would disappear by now. It would be non-existent. But the fact that it's right where it was when it started, we had a fluctuation down, we had a fluctuation up, we had a fluctuation. That's what floating currencies do. They float, they go up and down. That's the way they adjust what some would call imbalances. So that is what is happening. It is no big deal. Really, the focal point here, as I've been saying for a long time, should be on the dollar. There's a trend of de-dollarization. There's massive fiscal expansion. There is the Fed raising interest rates, which, by the way, that's what the point I was going to make earlier, was that we saw zombie behavior today. Number one, with that statement coming out of Italy that Ooh, the budget may not be approved. So right away, again, they do the same thing over and over again, but it leads to nowhere. It leads to absolutely nowhere. And then we saw the Fed release the minutes of its last meeting where everybody is still on board for gradual rate hikes. So again, same behavior. They see, oh, they're going to raise rates. So what do? They buy the dollar, they sell gold. Same behavior. They sold the stocks, but then the stock market came back. Same behavior every single time. Very easy to predict the behavior and very easy to make money off of that. Many of you here and many of you who post up comments, particularly the negative comments, that's your behavior. It's the zombie behavior. You keep doing the same thing. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. It's laughable. It really is. So this is something that an informed person, an educated person, somebody with good mental game could absolutely take advantage of, which is something that I do. So a number of things came out today, a number of things that could be important policy-wise. I look at policy, I look at fiscal flows. That is the focal point of my analytics. And I'm not just talking about fiscal flows in the United States. I'm talking about the major economies. You're talking about the Eurozone. You're talking about China. I look at policy because policy drives the flows and the flows drive everything else. Everything else. Even bank credit creation, what you might call lending. And these trends, as I have said in the past, these are not day-to-day or week-to-week or even month-to-month trends. If you look at the United States, for example, we have political cycles. We have elections. We have congressional elections every 2 years, which are important because Congress ultimately comes up with budgets, and budgets are the core of these flows. That's every 2 years. Every 4 years we have presidential elections, so that also is part of the cycle. So we're coming up, by the way, we are coming up to a congressional election, I think it's what, November 6th, where actually the outcome or control of Congress will be decided. And right now, there's a lot of these polls are indicating that the House of Representatives can fall back into Democratic hands. Now, I'm not making a prediction as to what the policies are going to be. We'll see that. It's another one of these things where they tell you what they're going to do. All I have to do is sit back and wait for them to tell me what they're going to do. And then when they do it, I can act on that because I understand the impact of the policies on the economic landscape and on the markets. You don't. Many of you don't. My people who are subscribers and people who follow me, they do. All right, they do. You guys are just out there throwing things against the wall and hoping it sticks. You're looking at lines on a piece of paper or on your computer screen thinking that that means something. It's funny. It's funny. It's like a kind of primitive mythology. Easy for us to take advantage of that. Easy for us to take advantage of that. All right, but anyway, let me repeat. The report is out. The EIA report is out. You can go back and watch my video from a couple of weeks ago saying the top in oil is in. I mean, it's all up there, okay? Dollar index still trading with a 95 handle. Nothing has changed. We've been in there for, what, since June. So that's four, almost 5 months. 95 handle, sometimes below 95, sometimes above 95. 95 handle. That's what it is. You can make whatever interpretation of that you like, but that's what it is. 95 handle since June. You had 2 rate hikes. 95 handle. What do you want from me? All right, everybody? All right, that's it. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.